Good afternoon, friends, family, and followers. It is August 12th, and here I'm bringing the vlog back in after a month or so of not really shooting much video. We worked on the driveway June and July. I think I shot video saying that we got to the end. Either you just saw that, or if you didn't, we got to the end. And we took a family trip to Ohio on the 4th, shot a video then. July 4th. And other than that, it's been background paperwork, planning, working with the lawyers, working with the town, you know, permit processing, and figuring out estimations and making conclusions on, you know, some of the structural elements on how we actually plan to build the house. So there's been a lot of background paperwork, stressful, not fun stuff happening over the last month and a half or so, so I haven't shot much video. But I thought I'd update you guys and talk about a little bit on what we did decide, what progress we've made, and a timeline on the fall going forward. So, first things first, the culvert. Remember that vlog a couple videos ago where I was talking about installing the culvert? Well, I dug that up. It's now, as you can see, not under the road. I went to go get a final access permit for my driveway from the town, and they stopped out for a quick site visit and saw the culvert, and they said that's not on the plan. This section of road is actually a class 3 wetland and had to be engineered by a road designer, and they looked at that based on the topographical maps. They never actually did a site visit. So the select board was looking at the details of, you know, the lay of the land as they did a site visit, and looking at my map and the plan that the engineer laid out. But the engineer was just looking at the contours. He didn't see how the water flows on the site or the snow melt off in the spring, which is why I thought I'd build the driveway better than the minimum requirements and put in a culvert as well as a ditch kind of here feeding to the culvert, and then down on the corner. And so because the ditch and the culvert wasn't on the plan, they said either I need to re-engineer everything and show it on the maps, or remove the culvert. And this was 2-3 weeks ago now, and they weren't going to issue me my building permit until the access permit. So I was kind of getting squeezed between a rock and a hard place, because I really needed that building permit quickly, because I was planning to build in September, and here it was like the second, third week of July. So I said, forget it, I don't have time to re-engineer it. If this turns into a goopy, swampy mess and destroys the driveway, I'll deal with it later, but for the time being, I don't have time to re-engineer it. So I came out here, Dad helped me, we dug it up with the backhoe, we filled it back in with gravel, boom, no culvert. So we're compliant, following the plan on the map going forward. That leads me into the next thing, the building permit. We have achieved that, finally. Building permit for the 3-bedroom single-family house right here on the lot. So we've finally got that. The appeal period is up. As far as the town's concerned, we are legal to build. That brings us to the next point, legality to build. This land is finally ours. It took a lot longer than I had intended and a lot longer than it should have. Working with the lawyer to write up the deed was like trying to push a rope uphill for a long ways. It was not easy. I had to call him almost every day for a month, checking in on progress, trying to get him what's the next steps, anything I can help with. It was not easy, and when we're getting pushed because I needed to own the land before I could go to the bank and get financing, which takes 6 weeks to close, and I needed to get the financing before we start building, and my contractor's planning to start first week of September, so I was really getting stressed out as things were getting tighter and tighter, and I didn't even own the land yet. So finally we own the land, and honestly I was hoping and expecting that the actual land transaction would be a lot more like ceremonial, you know. I thought I'd go in, you know, sign papers, read through documents, flip through pages, yeah, blah blah blah, this land is now yours. And it wasn't any of that. Especially with after all the stress, what it boiled down to was eventually, after I called and asked for like the third time, they emailed me a PDF with the signatures, and that was it. I didn't even have to sign anything. And they said as soon as that's filed with the town, the land's mine. So I went, ha! So it was pretty melodramatic and uneventful. It was kind of like, oh, hey, I guess that's mine now, rather than like, woohoo, we own land, you know? So I own land now, but it was just not how I expected it to go. The next point, utilities. So the power company wouldn't talk to me until I owned the land as well, because they needed the easements for the power to cross my parents' land, which makes sense, and those easements weren't gonna be finalized until the land was signed over. So I couldn't install power until I owned the land, which was until like about a week ago. So the power is not installed yet. I've been trying to talk to the power company and get them out here to do their measurements and start the process and the paperwork on their end, so I can actually dig the trench and install underground power for like 600 feet, which will go just this side of the driveway, and then that will tie into the corner of the house. The guy from the power company came out this week without talking to me, which is fine, but I had some questions for him, and I wanted to be here so, you know, he knew exactly where I intended to install the power. And I see he put a stake where he expects the transformer to go, but that's not where I wanted it to go, because that's not the trees that are next to it I wanted to leave, and he didn't put it in the path where I had intended the power to go, so I'm gonna have to talk to him later this week. But power's moving forward slowly. Hopefully we'll have that about the same time as the foundation and before construction, because contractors do not want to work on the site with generators, and I get that. But it's kind of putting me in a tight spot, because I was planning to dig the whole power trench, which is going to take me more than an afternoon with the backhoe. So I'm going to be really busy once I finally get the green light on that, but so far power's in the works and we don't have it yet. The next update I have to share, we talked to the excavator. He is running behind because it's been such a wet spring and summer. So he's just now getting on some of his big projects, but he knows that we need to get in this fall. And honestly, our dig is gonna be a small project for him, and he'll be able to do it in just a couple of days. So hopefully we'll get him in probably the last week of August at this point. He said the site looks good. I've got enough of a driveway in that he'll be able to get in and do stuff. He said that wood pile's a little close, but he'll make it work. I think I'm gonna try to sell that as well as another pile behind the camera, and it'll just give us a little bit more elbow room to turn around in the driveway, and to give him some more space to put dirt if I can sell that before the end of the month. Another thing I'd like to share, there was a huge maple tree there, about 3 feet in diameter, and that had to come down. The top broke off last summer and got hung up in the tree next to it. It was super dangerous and half dead in the middle anyways, so it needed to come down. And I wanted to get all the wood processed out of the way before we started moving dirt. So finally, that tree came down. We tried to winch it over. It honestly did not go good. I have some footage of it. I probably won't share it because it wasn't pretty. I notched it big on this side. I back cut it from the back and put wedges in it. Tried to winch it over, and it just did not want to go. Finally, it moved a little bit, and then it pinched to the blade on the saw. At that point, the tension on the cable went loose, and the tree actually went completely backwards from where I intended it to go. So it was dangerous. It was not fun. But it's down, and nobody was hurt. No equipment was damaged, so it was a success. Just not pretty. The last update I wanted to share with you guys is the building timeline. When are we actually going to start, like, construction? You know, what this project is about. Soon? Kinda. So the foundation is scheduled for the end of August, probably the last week at this point. Meanwhile, our main contractor who's gonna frame the entire shell for us is having a little bit of a tricky time finding a crew. He generally works in Maryland, so he has some connections up here. So therefore, he's still looking for a little help. So he's really okay pushing the project back a few weeks and realistically not starting till last week of September or first week of October. That's good and bad. It's good because we're gonna save more money in the meantime, and it gives me more time to secure financing with the bank, which we're still working on because I need to finalize written estimations for every step of the process. And I just finished the plumbing plan this morning. That's some of the paperwork again that I didn't shoot on video. It was electrical planning headaches last weekend, plumbing this weekend. So I've figured out that stuff. We're still waiting now. And just Friday, we got the paperwork into Curtis Lumber so they can send it out for the engineered lumber quote for the roof trusses as well as the floor joists. We're gonna go with TJI floor joists because we were kind of at the limit of the span for normal 2x12s. So we have to wait about a week for them to come back with that quote. And then I think I'll have all the written estimations. I can talk to the bank, beg, plead that they can give us some money to build. Then hopefully we'll achieve financing at that point a few weeks, and that'll take us in, and we should be ready to go for end of September, early October. And then we will be going, hoping for nice weather, October, November, and December. We plan to get the house shelled up and weather tight essentially about the first of the year. That's our hope. Get it shelled in, get a roof on it, and then we'll do siding in the spring. I'll work on all the plumbing and electrical and interior stuff at that point throughout the winter. And with any luck, I'll be able to move in the spring. That's what we're hoping for currently. I don't exactly know how fast I can plumb and electrical, both with me and my help of friends and family that want to join me. Yeah, I just ate a gnat. So if we can get it shelled up in about 3 months, then at least I'm inside working on the house project, and at that point it's on my timeline to see how fast and efficient I can install all the plumbing and the electrical and then the drywall and the appliances and all that stuff. But I'm hoping to be in the house, moved in. Probably not quite finished, but hopefully moved in before the grass turns green. So I'm hoping for next spring at this point. We'll see how it goes. You guys will follow along with me. But those are the updates for now. I will be sure to show you video of the foundation going in, but videos will be sporadic into the fall. And I thought I'd share this update as to why you haven't seen stuff over the last few weeks. Partly we've been busy doing hay because the sun finally came out, partly because there hasn't been as much happening physically on the site to shoot. More just like phone calls and emails, like I said. So building progress coming soon this fall. There's an update for you. Long vlog, I know. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you later.